Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 29th of August. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you the major themes to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through till Pisces. This week begins with the Sun continuing its journey in the sign of Virgo. Virgo energy asks us to be more discriminating, to focus on the details of our situation. If we can make some small adjustments, that can add up to something more substantive. Anything to do with our physical health, the organisation of our situation, or even our jobs and pets, believe it or not, with the 6th house, can take on extra significance. But of course, the new moon, which occurred last week, is still reverberating around the heavens, and that's squared up with Mars, and that square with Mars does continue into this week. Now, this can add an extra dimension to this energy of Virgo, because Mars is in the sign of Gemini, which gives it a passionate desire to express ideas or to be more physically active. And the two together can create a kind of frenetic extra energy, and that makes it difficult to really focus ourselves and get grounded. So the key this week is really deciding on what the priorities are, narrowing our focus, and really putting our energy into achieving the significant things that we need to do first. But it's possible that someone could be a bit picky or irritable or overcritical, and we just need to be conscious of that. Now, it's the case that Mars actually forges a brilliant angle to Mercury, now in the sign of Libra, urging us to try to listen more attentively to others, be a bit more detached if people see things in a different way. But this angle to Mars suggests that if there are people that we can collaborate with and work on those details with, but we have some shared ideals that we can, or interests that we can collaborate around, then progress can be made. Mercury is also opposite Jupiter, which is quite a buoyant influence, but it's also important to not promise anything we can't realistically deliver, because Mercury is the communication, Jupiter's the optimism. Now, as we draw to the end of the week, there is on Saturday a quarter moon, and this quarter moon occurs in the sign of Sagittarius, which of course very much enjoys freedom, space and independence. So that need to focus on those responsibilities and obligations that comes from the Sun in Virgo is challenged somewhat. So even more reason not to readily agree or volunteer to anything if we don't have the available free time. Also, the square between Saturn and Uranus, which dominated year 2021 and the start of this year, they are inching closer together. They're going to be within 1 degree between the 2nd and also the 12th of October, but just be aware that the frustration that this particular aspect generated last year is likely to come much more to the fore. Remember, Saturn's about the structure but also the limitation. Uranus is about the truth but also the restlessness and rebelliousness, and therefore they are very conflicting energies. Now, please stay with me for your in-depth zodiac sign forecast, but if you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you and get the rest of 2022 free, plus your life roadmap, your character analysis, which can guide your moves, and get 30% off, please see my link beneath this video. And if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your continued support. So Libra, your week commencing the 29th of August forecast sees Mercury getting that toehold in your sign furthermore, but forging a brilliant link with Mars in your sector of adventure, travel, higher education, but also linking brilliantly too with Jupiter, the planet of growth, in your sector of relating. If there is an opportunity to get away from it all, perhaps with someone that you really get on well with, you may want to seize that this week. But your ruler Venus is compromised on Monday by a crunching opposition from Saturn and a right angle from Uranus. And even if you do want to go off and do something more playful and frivolous, the Sun is also in a much more reflective part of your situation. So there are some conflicts going on in your personal situation this week. On one hand, the Sun wants you to take a step back, just pause, think about things, whereas Mars is pushing you to be expansive. Now, Mars and the Sun, when they're in a right angle, can create irritability. And also, because of the ninth house amplification potential that comes from the rulership of the ninth house of Jupiter, the Jupiterian Sagittarius, something that is tender could, take on a life force of its own if you're not careful. However, later in the week, Venus does escape the clutches of Saturn and Uranus, but they are still in a tense right angle for the rest of this week within 3 degrees. So of course Saturn's in your sector of self-expression, fun, joys, hardly the most joyous influence, and Uranus is in the part of your horoscope to do with deep changes. So quite a lot of electric energy around this week, or more reflective energy, and perhaps the best way to deal with all of this is to use the element of air, which governs your sign, to just take a step back and try to just work out where you're standing in all these contra energies. Also, the quarter moon, which occurs on Saturday, can itself just see some gossip or someone's words just weigh much more heavily on your mind. So keeping your natural sense of equilibrium this week is probably best achieved by clear discussions with people that you know will understand where you're coming from, and just try not to get triggered by some peripheral energies which are not going to be good for your concentration on the main strands.